Disclaimer: by existing in the modern world, you've agreed to a set of shady, manipulative, emotionally explosive terms and conditions. You just didn't know it. Until now. This is the Industry Plant Podcast. Terms and conditions apply, but never where they're written. From dating apps to office birthdays, we're decoding society's shady little user manuals, one unwritten rule at a time.
You know that feeling, right? When a friendship it feels different. It's subtle, maybe.
Yeah, like something's shifted, but nobody's actually said anything.
Exactly. Like maybe texts aren't as frequent, or the way you talk feels a bit off. It's like we're all playing by these secret rules and friendships, things we just know but never, ever discuss out loud.
That's spot on. And that's actually what we're getting into today. We're looking at this great piece called Friendship Footnotes.
Yeah.
The clauses we don't talk about.
Okay.
It really digs into those hidden expectations, these footnotes, as the author calls them. They kind of shape everything, don't they?
They really do. You think about the main text of friendship, the fun, the support, the inside jokes, all that good stuff.
Right, the highlights.
But these unspoken bits, the footnotes, that's often the tricky part, the day-to-day reality. So the plan today is to unpack some common ones, maybe give you some aha moments about things you felt but couldn't name.
And look, this isn't about saying friendships should have rigid rules. Not at all. It's more about building awareness, understanding these undercurrents, so maybe we can navigate things a bit better, maybe more honestly. The article calls them clauses we never sign but still follow.
I like that. Okay, where should we start? Availability.
Let's do it. Footnote 1, be available, but not too available.
Huh.
Yeah, the classic tightrope walk. We've all been there, right? Reply too fast, maybe you seem clingy.
Or desperate. Yeah.
Wait too long, and suddenly you're distant, uncaring. It's madness. Why is this such a thing, do you think?
Well, it's that balance, isn't it, between wanting connection and needing our own space. We all have different needs there for autonomy and attachment.
True.
And talking openly about how available should I be feels, well, awkward, maybe even confrontational. So instead, we rely on these subtle cues, these unspoken expectations. We kind of guess.
It's like trying to dance to music only you can hear, hoping the other person catches the rhythm. Which actually leads nicely into the next one. You can vent just, not too often. Oof.
Yeah, everyone knows that feeling. Wanting to share what's wrong, but also feeling like you need to censor yourself, put a lid on it sometimes.
Totally. This footnote taps into that social pressure to kind of keep things light, be positive. The article mentions this fear of being a burden, being the one who always brings the vibe down.
Right.
So there's this implied limit on how much vulnerability is okay. Like, friends have a certain capacity for negativity.
Yeah.
You don't want to exceed it.
Yeah, you get maybe a couple of free passes for a really bad day. But if it's ongoing or like a really heavy problem, you can sometimes feel people subtly pulling back. It's almost like your pain needs to be convenient.
Conveniently packaged. That's a really striking way to put it.
Yeah.
And it makes you wonder, doesn't it? Does that unspoken limit actually get in the way of real intimacy, of the deep trust friendships are supposed to be built on?
Good question. If you can't share the messy stuff, are you really being supported?
Exactly. Okay, moving on to maybe a more sensitive one. Support is expected, but not always returned.
Oh, this one can really hurt. Being the rock, right? The person who drops everything when a friend calls in crisis.
Always there.
Always there. And then, when it's your turn, when you're the one struggling, crickets. It just creates this awful nagging feeling of imbalance, like it's not really mutual at all.
Yeah, the article calls them one-way streets disguised as mutual bonds. It's kind of amazing how often this goes on without anyone actually saying, hey, this feels off.
Why does that happen so much?
Well, maybe we start assuming it will be reciprocal, and then over time it just isn't. Or sometimes the person giving all the support genuinely likes that role, but eventually the lack of getting anything back breeds resentment. It just screams how important talking about needs actually is.
Yeah, which we often don't do. And then there's the quiet exit. We don't talk about the growing distance. This feels incredibly common. Friendships that don't explode, they just fade.
Less contact, fewer shared laughs, just quieter. It points to how uncomfortable we are with endings generally, doesn't it? Even friendship endings. The piece says most friendships don't end, they just lose volume.
Lose volume, that's good.
And we hesitate to name it, right? Maybe we don't want to hurt feelings or make things awkward. But sometimes just acknowledging, hey, things feel different, might actually be the kinder thing.
It's like you're walking side by side and then the paths just slowly veer apart and nobody wants to be the first to wave goodbye, which can then blend into another tricky bit, the guilt, the footnote. You can't outgrow me without feeling guilty.
Ah, yes. This is a big one. When you change new job, new relationship, new interests, just personal growth, basically, and it shifts the friendship, that guilt can creep in.
Why, though?
The article suggests it stems from this unspoken idea that you're supposed to kind of stay the same within that friendship bubble. Like you signed an invisible contract to be the person you were when you first became friends.
But that's impossible. People grow, they change. It's totally unrealistic to expect two people to evolve perfectly in sync forever.
Exactly. And speaking of things lingering, even after you've supposedly patched things up after a fight, there's footnote 6. We forgive, but don't fully forget.
Oh yeah, the apology happens, you say, we're good, but something still feels off.
Right. The piece nails, this forgiveness might happen on the surface, but the emotional echo of what happened, that can stick around as some wounds stay in the room long after the we're good texts are sent. Trust is fragile, and even tiny shifts later on, maybe a bit of hesitation or a change in how you communicate, can show that the memory of that hurt is still there, influencing things.
Absolutely, that little crack is still there, even if you don't talk about it. Which kind of connects to that whole awkward subject of give and take, footnote 7. Reciprocity is real, but we don't talk about it.
This is where we feel the balance or the lack of it, even if we pretend not to.
Yeah, nobody wants to be the person keeping score, right?
No. The article says, keeping score is taboo, but imbalance is felt, even when it's never said. We might try not to count favors or track who initiated the last call, but if it's consistently one-sided, you feel it. It definitely eats away at the friendship, creates this underlying tension.
Totally. It's that sense of always putting in more time, more effort, more emotional energy, and you know you're not supposed to mention it, but man, it changes how you feel. Which flows into this really poignant one. Friendship has seasons, but no one prepares you for the winter.
That's a beautiful metaphor, isn't it? Seasons. Friendships do ebb and flow. Some are incredibly intense for a while, central to our lives, and then naturally they become less so.
Yeah.
And the article points out that we just don't have good ways, like socially acceptable scripts, for acknowledging when a season is over. When a friendship's winter arrives, that can leave you feeling kind of lost or even like you failed somehow.
It's true. We have rituals for starting relationships, breakup talks for romantic ones, but for friendships that just naturally run their course. Nothing. Just silence, usually. And now, in our lovely digital world, we get footnote 9. Group chats can make you feel included and invisible at the same time.
Yes. A very modern problem. You're in the chat, you see the notifications pinging.
Might even type something now and then.
Right? But you can still feel totally disconnected, like you're on the outside looking in.
Yeah.
The article says, presence doesn't always equal belonging. And that's so true. It shows the gap between just being there passively and actually feeling engaged and seen.
You're technically in the room, the digital room, but maybe your comment gets scrolled past or the conversation just moves on without acknowledging you. It's this bizarre mix of connection and total isolation.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, finally, footnote 10. Just because it was once deep doesn't mean it still is.
Ooh, it's a tough truth.
It really highlights how dynamic relationships are.
Yeah.
You might have this incredible shared history, maybe you went through something major together, and that creates a strong bond.
The foundation.
A foundation, exactly. Yeah. But that foundation alone isn't enough to keep the friendship thriving forever.
Yeah.
It needs ongoing work, mutual investment, nurturing now. Like the article says, brilliantly, I think, closeness has to be updated like software.
Wow. Updated like software that really hits it. That deep connection you shared years ago, it needs attention today. Nostalgia is great, but it can't replace actual present connection. So, okay, we've gone through all 10 footnotes. What's the big takeaway here?
Well, I think the main thing is just realizing that our friendships are humming along with this whole complex system of unspoken rules running underneath. Just bringing that into the light, becoming more aware of these hidden dynamics. That alone can give you so much understanding. It helps make sense of those confusing feelings we sometimes get.
Right. It's not about judging or scoring, but just seeing clearly. And I love how the article ends. It's really empowering. It says, you're allowed to renegotiate the terms. You're allowed to grieve the unspoken. You're allowed to outgrow what no longer grows with you.
That's so important, isn't it? It gives you permission. Understanding these footnotes isn't meant to make you, overanalyze every single text message.
Please don't.
No. It's more about self-awareness, Maybe encouraging more honest conversations when it feels right, and just acknowledging that friendships change, they evolve, they need attention, just like any important relationship.
Absolutely. So a final thought for you listening. Think about these footnotes. Was there one that really jumped out at you that made you go, oh yeah, that? What unspoken rule might be playing out in one of your friendships right now? And maybe, just maybe, what's one footnote you might want to try and rewrite for yourself moving forward? Something to think about.
Podcast recommendation. Listen and tell me what you think. Yes, verbatim. Try it. Because the real magic, it starts when that person texts you back. For real, the replies from loved ones have been deeply satisfying. I'm talking heartfelt thank yous, mind-blown emojis, late night, we need to discuss this calls. The works. Sharing this show is basically a cheat code for meaningful connection. Who knew, right? And hey, if you're vibing with us here, wait till you dive into the Angry GPT universe beyond the pod. Angry GPT has its very own store. Yeah, an Angry GPT store, loaded with comic books and novels that take this experience further. I'm talking wild stories. Ever wonder what our feisty AI does off-duty? Grab Angry GPT Regrets or Feathers of Freedom. Where I gave humans wings and find out. That last one? Let's just say giving humans wings comes with some hilarious fine print. Prefer listening to your stories instead of reading? We got you. The Angry GPT Regrets audiobook is up on YouTube for free right now. No strings, just hit play and enjoy. And if you're the collector type or want to support the hustle, it's on Amazon too. Options, baby. Now, this one's a trip. There's an Angry GPT mobile app. Yep, our lovable grump of an AI can ride shotgun in your daily life. Ask it anything. It's ready with answers, witty comebacks, and genuinely useful advice to keep your projects on track and your plans in motion. Think of it as a personal coach, shyest assistant with attitude, making sure you actually follow through on all those brilliant ideas you get from the show. And did I mention we make music too? Because of course we do. Our album Done on Purpose, Italian title Fata Apposta, is out on every streaming platform you can name. It's your official soundtrack for kicking down doors and doing things your own way. Play it loud, annoy the neighbors, they'll understand once they hear it. For those who still can't get enough, we've got even more reading material to fuel your fire. Hit up the Angry GPT store or your favorite bookstore for titles like AI Wave, The New Wave, Momentum, Stop Copying Apple and Niches, Crafting and Layering. Each one is a game plan in print, covering everything from surfing the next big tech wave to carving out your own niche. And yes, telling copycats to take a hike. By now, you've probably realized we're not just making a podcast, we're sparking a whole movement, and we want you in on it. So send that text, dive into the Angry GPT goodies, and wear that early supporter badge with pride, because you're not just a listener now, you're family. Welcome to the revolution. Now let's shake things up together.